All right, so this is the week of peace, and my title today is Peace Today. And this is a tough subject to talk about when there is so much going on in the world today, especially because we are a part of what is happening in the world all around us. To me, it doesn't look as if peace even exists sometimes. If you hear the news channels, and believe you me, there are a plethora of them out there, they all bring these bits of violence and destruction to the forefronts of our minds. And I cannot fathom what people are or have been experiencing. And we need to realize it is not just happening over there somewhere, but it is happening right here too. And really, who's to say what tragedy is worse than another? All tragedy is tragedy to the players involved.
I light a candle to our love. In love all problems disappear. But all in all we soon discover that one and one is all we long to hear.
So today we look through the lens of Advent to bring peace to our souls and ultimately to the world. But first, let us affirm our statements of truth together, shall we?
I am a child of God. I am deserving of my good in my life. I am accepting my good now.
Well, in the 60s, the hippies began to protest the Vietnam War. Some were marching for peace and some were marching against war. And even today, when people have 60s parties or hippie-themed parties, the popular two-finger gesture for peace is prominent, isn't it? Yeah, so everybody, can you do that? Yeah. Contrary, though, to popular belief, the peace sign did not even originate in the 60s. It was first used in 1941 during World War II. The two-finger gesture was used to represent victory.
That's right.
And had been spread through Europe by the British troops. In fact, Winston Churchill used it in a speech to proclaim his victory campaign over the war. It was also used, of course, by President Nixon to signal victory over the Vietnam War. And, of course, he had the two-handed gesture as he resigned from office in 1974. But one bit more of information that you need to know about is that this gesture originated in Europe. And you don't want to flip your fingers over with the palm out like this, like these two examples are, because that no longer means peace. It kind of means the same thing as the one-finger gesture is in the United States today, if you know what I'm talking about. And in fact, what happened was Churchill went out and did the peace sign like this, and his advisors quickly grabbed his arm and pulled it down and said, no, do it this way. So we all need to make sure we do the peace sign with the palm out. Everybody practice? Yes. Thank you. So throughout history, in spite of the turmoil in the world, we have experienced peace. And one of my favorite stories about peace that still reassures the idea of faith, through faith, that peace is possible, is a story from Christmas 1941. You see, the British and German troops were all along the front lines when the German soldiers lit candles and put them up on the trenches. And they grabbed a couple of little short trees and they put the candles in the trees. And the German soldiers started singing Christmas carols. And the British soldiers started singing Christmas carols. And then they started sending well wishes over the zone there, the front line zone, to each other. They were saying Christmas blessings back and forth. And pretty soon, the soldiers started coming out of the trenches. And they came out and they shared their food that they had. They shared the alcohol that they had. They shared the desserts that they had, and the candies and the smokes. And pretty soon they started cutting buttons off of their jacket and trading it with the other soldiers. And the British and German were taking these home as souvenirs. And they did this for the whole day of Christmas. And peace became a theme for that Christmas day. No fighting happened. And it didn't just happen in that one zone, which is amazing. It happened in pockets of fighting all over Europe. And it was beautiful because people wanted to feel peace on Christmas Day. And to me, you know, that's a Christmas miracle. It's a Christmas miracle because they felt that this was important to stop fighting. They felt it was important to celebrate that holiday that they all knew in their hearts and wanted to share. And, you know, the bad part was it would have been beautiful if they would have just taken that peace with them and gone home that day, gone back home to their families and quit fighting completely. But we know peace is possible even during a war because they proved it. And I'm sure when the fighting resumed, they said it slowly started resuming over the next week. And some started the very next day, some started, it took them like a week before they started fighting again. But I can't imagine after celebrating Christmas together how difficult it would have been to pull those triggers again at each other. Because they recognized that each other were just like themselves, that they could find peace even in all of that turmoil. But the lesson from this story is that even when there is bloodshed, peace is possible. And in every tragedy, peace is possible. And no matter what we think is happening to us, around us, or in us, peace is possible. The reason why this is true is because the power of peace is within us at all times, and at every minute of the day, peace is within us, wanting to come forth. And you might be saying, oh, that's easy for you to say. But it is, unity is practical Christianity. We need to practice these principles. We need to practice these skills. We need to bring forth that which is within us. So it takes practice. And sometimes we just get to practice a little more often than we choose to practice, right? It keeps coming up in our faces and we go, wow, I thought I had that one down. But the cool thing is that every year Unity puts out the Advent booklets, which Warren mentioned earlier. This one is called All is Calm, All is Bright. And yes, I just checked with Reba and she got them in, so they'll be out there for sale. And like I said, it's a great book with some good stories. But I wanted to share a little piece of one from for Monday, for tomorrow. And the guy who wrote it is Reverend Michael Corbin. And it says, and this is just a piece of the story, very often our concept of peace focuses on, I'm going to put that up there for you, focuses on the absence of something, no bad stuff happening. Nations are said to be at peace when the bombs are no longer dropping and the bullets have stopped flying. Our measuring stick for peace is no outward aggression or conflict. The underlying stresses and tensions are not addressed. We do much the same thing in our personal lives. We seek peace in terms of no outward conflict with our children, our parents, our friends, our partners, our associates, and so on. We may also define peace as no bad news, no unexpected bills, no ill health, no unexpected complaints from neighbors or bosses. How often we simply long for peace and quiet, which is the absence of noise. But this is not the peace intended by our way shower, who said in John 14:27, "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you." Peace from outer turmoil is at best a respite, a temporary escape from the realities that challenge all living things. Sooner or later, it will be interrupted by a dishwasher on the fritz, a broken bone, a disturbing medical diagnosis, a fender bender, a misunderstanding in a relationship, and on and on. The list is endless. As the late, great comedian Gilda Radner said, I'm finishing the paragraph, but it's not up there, in the character of Rosanna Dana, it's always something.
Yeah.
And we don't have to look at life that way, though, do we? Why, though, does it become so difficult for us to find peace? Every little thing that happens to us, we take it in and we let our small m run with it, and the small m does what? Tries to fix it, doesn't it? We don't stop and pray or anything. We jump up and down and we become consumed by the drama, and in that moment, our consciousness is affected. Peace is no longer in the realm of our thinking, is it? Although peace is still within us. Well, I've shared bits with you from a book, You Are the Placebo, Making Your Mind Matter, written by Joe Dispenza. And this is one of the quotes I'm going to share today. I've got two of them. But this is an important quote to think about when that drama comes into our lives and why we're not focusing on peace. He says, if everything material in the universe radiates a specific, unique energy signature because everything is made of atoms, which is a true statement, then you and I are always broadcasting information as electromagnetic energy based on our states of being. Okay, we're always broadcasting information as energy and depends on our states of being. This is important because what is your state of being right now? What is your state of being when you do have that dishwasher go out or you do have a car wreck? What is your state of being prior to that happening? Because I'll tell you what, if your electromagnetic energy or consciousness, which he later describes as, is in the right place, those things aren't going to seem dramatic. You're not going to have to jump up and down and try to fix it, because you know what will happen next? If you're in that state of being, the result will be that the answer will come forth, because the universe, God, always provides for us when anything happens, if we allow it to be. And this scientific proof is letting us know that we are the ones in control of what we are expressing in the universe. So what are you expressing? Are you expressing peace every day? I know it's a huge responsibility for us to think about the idea that what we are thinking, what energy we're putting out there into the world can affect everybody else and ourselves. That's a huge responsibility. But it's true. And they've proven it scientifically, and we've known it all our lives, if you tap into that truth that you know. And once we realize it, our highest good is going to come forth in every single situation. And we get to choose whether or not we're emanating peace or not. Think about how many times when we see something on Facebook or the news or the political debates that does not represent peace, that we keep accelerating this negative energy. How many people are doing that? We post negative words, or we talk with everyone about what we don't like. And when a bombing happens, I bet most people start blaming others or wanting to know who did it before they ever say a prayer for the people involved. You know, it seems like that becomes secondary. Now, I know most of you might not do that because you're unity people, right? And you've got a higher state of consciousness, but we do it. You know, I catch myself every once in a while thinking, oh gosh, what happened? No, go to prayer first. Affirm the good that is going to come forth. Affirm that God is in the midst of each and every situation. It changes everything. But you know, we post those negative words. We talk with everyone about what we don't like about, especially when we're talking about candidates, you know, that are running right now. You know, everybody has an opinion. And when the bombing happens, you know, it just, we talk about that rather than what we can do to send energy to the people that have to survive this. Now, I guarantee you, if we took all the bad things that we know for our own self, all the bad things that have happened to me, or all the bad things that have happened to you, and you stand in a room and you start stacking those up. And then you stack up all the good things. The good things are going to outweigh the bad, don't you think?
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. So why don't we focus on the good? But no, we tend to go to the bad, don't we? Especially if somebody shares a story. Oh, this happened to me, and blah, blah, blah. Oh, well, wait a minute, I'm going to tell you my story because that same thing happened to me, and this is what happened. Instead of going, wow, lift you up in prayer. Let's send the good energy. You know, focus on the good. And when we do that, what's going to happen? More good is going to come forth. We're going to bring more good forth. And we will feel it in our hearts, minds, and souls. And then we get to do what we need to do. Because if we can then if we decide to focus our thoughts on good, we can bring it forth, right? Right. Well, guess what? We all have opinions, right? Good, bad, indifferent, don't we?
Yes.
I don't hear that you have an opinion.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And none of us will ever agree about everything down the road, will we? There'll always be something we're going to not agree about. And we have to keep that in mind, because the good news about that is the reason why we have opinions and everything is because that's our gift of free will, which is a beautiful thing. But that doesn't mean because we don't agree with you or you don't agree with me that I should take that against you, or that I should focus on that part of you that I don't like. No, we should be focusing on the part that I do like. You know that God is good, that you have the Christ within you, whatever you can focus on to make it good, because that brings about peace in your world. And think about this. If no one can ever bring up anything bad about anybody, okay? If you can never say a negative thing about anybody, and all our discussions and talks and saying things to each other had to be always good, what would that look like? Be a whole different thing, wouldn't it? I mean, the result would be that you would talk to people positively that you enjoyed talking to and that you would say positive things to. The people that you didn't like, you wouldn't be saying anything about, which is not sending out any energy at all. It's not taking energy from you. It's not putting any energy on them. It's not sending out any bad energy into the universe, is it? And if we could do this, especially with politics, what a difference that would make. You know? If we could never say anything negative again about somebody running for office, we would find out what the good things are that they've done. Right? And if you didn't like that candidate, you just wouldn't talk about them at all. What would be the harm in that? I think it would bring about more good, don't you?
Yes.
I do. I know. Where am I? Okay. And this is the thing. What would happen is that at least every word would be positive, sending out positive energy into the world. And wow, what a shift in consciousness that would make, wouldn't it? We would all be affected because the focus would be on the energy even around us and through us and as us. And it would change our state of being, because the state of being, which is that divineness that we are, would emanate peace, because that's who we are. Here's the other quote from Dr. Dispenza that I wanted to share. See, he said, if you can imagine a particular future event that you want to experience in your life, that reality already exists as a possibility somewhere in the quantum field, beyond this space and time, just waiting for you to observe it. Now think about that. Because everything that you desire, that your heart wants to bring forth, that is longing in your soul, is waiting for you to experience, if we can stay in that frame of mind. You see, it's possible for all of us to imagine peace. The kind of peace we imagine is an inner peace that longs to be in the world all the time, just like it was on that Christmas day in 1914. It is possible because science has proved it. It is possible because we have the faith that we learned about last week, which is that knowing that we are unlimited potential. And when we know that we are unlimited potential, guess what? That is waiting for us is going to come forth. Because in that potential rests peace. And I say rest because we do not need to force peace. We do not have to have wars and fighting to claim peace. Peace is.
That's right.
Just like God is.
That's right.
We have lost the essence of who we are, which is peace. Peace can be profound when we truly want it and want to express it. And we can have it by taking the advice from Charles Fillmore, who wrote this about the importance of meditation. He said, H. Emily Cady said, we talk to God, that is prayer. God talks to us, that is inspiration.
Amen.
We go apart to get still. That new life, new inspiration, new power of thought, new supply from the fountainhead may flow in. And then we come forth to shed it on those around us, that they too may be lifted up. In harmony cannot remain in any home where even one member of the family daily practices this hour of the presence of God. So surely does the renewed and filling of the heart by peace and harmony result in the continual outgoing of peace and harmony into the entire surroundings. 1 hour a day, 2 30-minute time spots, 2 30-minute time spots, or 3 20-minute time spots is all it takes to experience peace. Can we be the catalyst to bring peace forth for all of us?
Yes.
Can we spend this precious time, 1 hour a day? You can break it up in 5-minute slots if you need to. Whatever, but commit to an hour a day of prayer and meditation and focus on peace and love and faith. Because that precious time is for us to envision, us to hold in consciousness, in that electromagnetic energy that we call consciousness. It's ours to bring forth into the world. And guess what? If you start doing this, you're going to start feeling it in your life. Because the next time somebody comes up to you with some drama, you're going to be able to go, wow, well, that's really, I really feel for you during this experience. You know, I'll hold you in prayer. But you will no longer go to that place of going to drama. You won't. You'll be able to stay centered and send that love and send that peace and send that, all that we need to move through it. And we will be manifesting and demonstrating that commitment of practicing that practical Christianity, practicing it in our lives. We can no longer focus on negative energy, negative words, negative thoughts, and only focus on the politics. And a good place to begin is with politics, I say, because I think this is a place where the energy really needs to be shifted, don't you?
Yes.
I mean, and when we see a car crash down the highway, or we hear of a bombing, or we see photos of children suffering, can we stop and see the truth of the situation, that every person involved is a child of God, that every person involved has the Christ within, and most importantly, stop and say a prayer. Can we do that?
Yes.
Yes. Lots of great people have fought for peace. It's time to quit fighting for peace. It's time for us to give peace a chance.
That's right.
Thank you for being here today. God bless you.